Ready? Good evening. This is the April 24th, 2025 Design Review Commission meeting. We'll start with a call to order. Glenn Katz, present.
Travis Kauser, present.
John Gray, present.
Richard Stanton, present.
Thank you. And Armin is excused. Adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt or do we have amendments to it?
I'll move that we adopt the agenda.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Public comments that are directed, not included in this agenda that are under the purview of this commission. Any raised hands, Zoom?
If there are any attendees in the audience on Zoom who would like to make a public comment on an item that is not on tonight's agenda, please raise your hand. I'm seeing no raised hands.
Thank you. Consent calendar. First item that we have is the March 24th draft meeting minutes. I do have two changes that I brought to my attention. On page 3, line 21. Richard Wheeler did not cede time. It was his wife that ceded time. There was only one person that ceded time. On page 6, line 3. It states, ensure that the future fence will be in compliance. The word not is in there. Take the word not out. And that was the only changes I saw. Any other, do I have a motion to adopt with these changes?
Yeah, I'll move to adopt.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No study sessions, no continued public hearings. Next item is new public hearing. This is DR 19-24, V 13-24, TP 53-24. Russell. This is a request for a two-story structure at 962 4th Street.
3, 9, 6, 8.
Oh, 968. I'm sorry. Can't read my own writing. No. Staff, please.
Thank you very much. If you could just give me one moment to share the screen and then I'll be right back. Good evening, everyone. My name is Madison. I'm the project planner for the design review, variance, and true permits for demolition and construction of a new house at 968 4th Street. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see a vicinity map of.
I have two screens.
We have two screens.
No, but can you?
Yeah, no, we can
No,
see.
no, no.
You can sit there, we can see.
As we stare over your heads, yeah.
Left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a vicinity map showing the site in green located on the south side of Mount Diablo Boulevard in the central portion of Lafayette. The right-hand side of the screen, you will see a context map site in green. The 0.12 acre site is located in the R6 zoning district. The site is accessed from Moraga Boulevard to 4th Street, which dead ends north of the site. For context, I've provided a photo of the existing home currently on the site. Next, you will see the existing conditions shown on the site survey. I'd like to point out that north is now facing downwards. At the front of the lot is the existing 647 square foot single story home. There are two nonconformities that currently exist on the site. The first is the front setback, which is 9 feet 3 inches. The second is one parking space, which is located within the front setback area. The total amount of impervious surface area on the site is just about 1,500 square feet. There's a total of 6 trees proposed for removal as part of this project, which are bolded in X on the site survey. 4 of these trees are protected under the city's tree protection ordinance. The arborist report that was provided as part of the application designates all protected trees proposed for removal as in fair health and poor structure with poor suitability for preservation. The last thing I'd like to point out is a couple site constraints. The first is the lot width, which is 35 feet. This means that the site qualifies for reduced side setbacks under the city's ordinance. The second is the creek, which is in the rear of the property, which restricts development. However, there is a creek setback exception, which was approved in July of 2024 by the city council. Next, you'll see the proposed site plan. For clarity, I've highlighted the proposed new footprint in red. The site will have a new 2,098 square foot home and seeks a variance to reduce the front yard setback to 8 feet 5 inches. The variance also includes 1 parking space within the driveway. The total amount of new impervious surface area will be 408 square feet, which will account for just about 1,900 square feet of impervious surface area on site. On the left-hand side of the screen is the proposed first floor plan. You'll see here there is a great room, a kitchen and dining room, office, bathroom, which accounts for 1,025 square feet of living area. There's also a 230 square foot 1-car garage proposed on this first level. Moving to the right side of the screen, the second floor plan, which will include the primary bedroom, 2 walk-in closets, primary bathroom, and laundry, accounting for just about 700 square feet of living area, with also unconditioned attic storage, about 150 square feet. On the screen, you will see the front elevation. The goal that the architect had in mind was to obtain a home with cottage style architecture. So you will see an asymmetrical yet balanced design with steep gable roof lines. The home is 2 stories. However, the second story is set back from the front, so it appears as a 1-story home from 4th Street. The existing home on the site had a maximum ridge height of 13 feet 8 inches, and the new 2-story home will have a maximum ridge height of 25 feet 7 inches. You can also see the 3 proposed light fixtures on the front facade, as well as the carriage garage door. This is the right or south elevation, which you can more visibly see the 2nd-story home. The 2nd story has accent windows and 1 modestly sized window on the 2nd story, which will most likely be looking down upon the roof of the adjacent home at 966 4th Street. You can see in the dashed line is the outline of the adjacent house next door. There's also 2 downward shielded wall sconces, which are proposed on this first level on the right elevation. Moving on to the left or north elevation. On this side, the project is showing stepped facades, which creates visual interest, but also creates a greater setback of the 2nd story from the side property line. There are also accent windows on the 2nd story, as well as varied roof lines and gables. Moving on to the rear elevation. On the first level, you get a better view of the covered porch. You can also see the vertical uniform windows and chimney from this elevation. Colors and materials are now shown on the screen. The project proposes horizontal nickel gap siding for the body. The body, the trim, and the garage will all be painted white, and for accents, there will be copper gutters, downspouts, and light fixtures, and a photo of that light fixture is shown on the screen. There will also be bronze wall sconces, and the roof will be a dark gray asphalt composition shingle. On the right-hand side of the screen is the landscaping plan with the left side showing the lighting plan. The existing site has 22 protected trees, so you can see the site is covered with oak tree drip lines. As a result of this, a lot of the species are oak understory, but the main goal of the plant groupings is to provide variation in height, texture, and form, with also some proposed species being California native, such as deer fern, monkey flower, and red flowering currant, just to name a few. As mentioned previously, there are 6 trees proposed for removal, 4 of which are protected under the city's tree protection ordinance. Based on a removal of this number of trees, the city requires a mitigation planting of 34 replacement trees. The project was referred to the city landscape consultant to provide feedback on this requirement. He reviewed the project plans and has reduced the mitigation requirement to 18 trees. Based on the condition and the purpose of each removed tree, as well as the existing site conditions. The landscape plan proposes to plant 1 vine maple, which is also a California native, in the rear yard of the site. There's also a paper bark maple proposed in the front yard, which will account for 2 mitigation trees. The rest of the trees, which I believe is 16, will require a fee to be paid. Moving on to the landscape lighting, which is very minimal lighting. The project proposes 5 path lights, 2 in the front and 3 in the rear, as well as tape light under the steps of the porch, and 2 flush puck mounted lights in the driveway. On screen, you'll see the hardscape plan and hardscape materials. Crushed rock will be proposed in the rear yard and the north side yard area. Also on the north side yard is basalt stepping stones and the wood porch. There will be a herringbone masonry paved driveway, as well as sandstone planter boxes in the front. The project was referred to various outside agencies. The building department, Fish and Game, and PG&E did not have any comments. Standard comments were received from Central Sand and EV Mud. The city engineer had comments regarding work in the public right-of-way, the creek setback, and various hardscaping details. The project will be required to obtain an encroachment agreement for the work that's proposed in the public right-of-way. Other than that, all other comments from the city engineer were addressed by the architect and implemented into the plan set. The landscape consultant also provided comments and suggestions about the landscaping plans and tree mitigation requirements, which have also been implemented within the plan set. The project was noticed to 37 surrounding neighbors and posted 10 days in advance of this meeting. There were 3 public comments received about the project, all of which are in the staff report. 2 comments were with concerns about tree removal and privacy impacts from the scale of the home, and there was 1 public comment in support of the project. Staff recommendation is to find the project exempt from CEQA and adopt DRC Resolution 2025-01 approving the project subject to conditions of approval. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff?
I have one straightforward one. I think I am not familiar with the term nickel gap siding. Can you tell me what that is?
I actually also looked this up. I believe nickel gap refers to the gap of the horizontal lap. The gap is the size of the nickel, is what I've come to.
It's the wood siding profile?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Presume that's some traditional cottage look. Okay, thanks.
Okay, applicant, you have 10 minutes to present if you want to.
So the architect is zooming in from abroad, so we can, Joseph, we can allow him to speak if you'd like to give a presentation.
I've allowed Joseph to speak. Joseph, if you would like to present for up to 10 minutes on behalf of the applicant team.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I can barely hear you guys for some reason. Again, I think we were there about a month ago, and the owners had considered going to a one-story house without a garage. After some soul searching, they decided that doing the two-story house with the one-car garage was just a better thing to do economically and also for them to live. I knew I'd be in France during this meeting, so I wrote my comments down. They were in the package. I hope you had a chance to read it. There was one typo in there that Jim pointed out, in that I said it's virtually possible to design a house on this lot. I meant to be virtually impossible to design a house on the lot with considering the trees and the creekside setback. My mistake. Staff did a great job. We've been working with them for like 6 months on this. I think they covered everything important in their report. Matt Luthrop had a lot of comments about the creek setback, and we took care of that also. I understand the neighbors' concerns about both privacy, but this is a buildable lot that has extreme constraints and some, unique opportunities in that they give us the setbacks that it does. We put the 5-foot setback for the house on the Brooke Peterson side, on the Peterson residence side. Part of that was to save a really nice cork oak that's on the property line. And also there's a 48-inch oak tree that we're really trying to save. The arborist recommended that we take it out. We've been working with him to try to save it. It's a significant tree, a significant part of that canopy back there, and we're going to do everything we can to be able to keep it. The one thing about having that setback on the Peterson side also is that it's 13 feet 4 off of the property line to the small upper windows at the primary bedroom up above. And those windows are 4'8" off the floor, and they're 2'4" tall. So I know that there was a request to make them clear story windows, which would be sort of a narrow horizontal window, which I don't think really goes with the style of the house. And I feel that these windows are appropriate. They're half the height of the bigger single hungs at the back. So we think that proportionally it fits in. I know that Brooke had also mentioned that it's a disproportionately large house for the neighborhood, but I think it fits in with the newer houses that have been done over the last few years, which are all 2-story and larger than this one. We're proposing to take out the one pine on the property line on the side of Maura's house. She's been telling me stories about trees that have fallen down in the neighborhood, and that one kind of hangs over her house. So she's okay with the pine. Number 3, number 16, and number 17, we're taking out to fit the house. Those are the ones that I refer to as twigs with leaves, because they've been severely pruned over the years and made them really quite unhealthy in the arborist opinion. Tree 15 is fairly small, and so is tree 14. Apparently, according to the arborist, 30 and 12 years ago, some portions of the canopy were removed in the neighborhood to allow some of the larger houses. He said that a lot of the trees were taken out are in a poor condition rating, that they've been pruned severely and topped and headed back, and there's significant delay on them from the pruning wounds. So again, I'm here mostly to answer questions. I think, staff has done a good job. We've done a good job with working with them to be able to, get this to work out. I think it fits the site and the neighborhood. I think the variances are appropriate. And I'd really love to see it move forward today. I'm here to answer questions, and if there's any comments that I might be able to deal with as a question, please send them to me or please address them as a question, and I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Or we have additional minutes? Do you need any additional minutes?
Not unless you would
Okay.
to address.
Okay, do we have any questions for the
No.
applicants?
The owners have great pictures of the existing trees.
No questions?
No.
Okay, do we have any, we don't need a rebuttal? Do we have any public comments?
There are attendees in the audience. I do see one with a raised hand. Again, if you're in the audience on Zoom, please use the raise hand function to provide a public comment. I'm going to allow Brooke Peterson to speak. Just one moment while we join. Okay. Rachel Berkowitz will be next.
Hi there, can you hear me? Apologies, I'm just about to drive through the Caldecott Tunnel coincidentally, so I apologize, but yeah, I just want to follow up on my email. I don't know if Madison, you can show the pictures. I just would love for the Planning Commission to take into consideration the obstructed view that we will have with the house from our backyard and the shade cover that's going to be affected. I have no doubt the house is going to be gorgeous. I'm just a little concerned about the removal of the trees, as I mentioned in my email, because they do provide a very, very large amount of shade to our backyard. I do think the house is large, not in comparison with the neighborhood at all, but for the lot. And that was my second concern. And I do still hope that we can consider windows on the second floor. So there's none, I'm not sure to pronounce the word, I think it's clerestory, but those, I do like the idea of no one being able to kind of just, it seems like peering down into a fishbowl of our yard, that it would become with a second story house that close to us. So again, the 3 points are very well outlined in my email. I knew I'd be driving during this meeting time, so I wanted to make sure to get it all down on paper. But I would appreciate if you guys could review the pictures of the how the trees cover our backyard and the amount of shade that it does provide.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The photos that she's referencing are added to the staff report packet with the public comments. If you'd like me to share them, I can share them as well.
I have one more public comment too, so if you'd like to do that during comment.
Yes, please.
Commissioner comment. I'm going to allow Rachel Berkowitz to speak. Okay.
Okay, hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I think I just wanted to sort of clarify for me, really, and the tree issue. You know, I would just encourage you guys to consider taking down the least amount of trees as possible. I mean, I think it does provide a beautiful canopy on our street, and part of the reason why we moved here so many years ago. But my concern really more is the windows on the second floor and the privacy concerns around those. I just remember when we did our own addition onto our house, one of the things that that they made us take away from our design was a window, and it had to be one of those clerestory windows so that we were not able to look into the neighbor's yard at all from the second floor of our home. And they were pretty adamant about that. It does look like those windows are a little bit higher, but I think that the architect said that they were 4 feet 8 inches. So I don't know if that's high enough, but I would just encourage a higher window so that we're all not living in a fishbowl. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Any other comments?
This is the last call for our public comments on the item. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand in Zoom. I'm seeing none, and we have none in the room as well.
Yeah, can I ask one thing from staff? Do you have any photographs of the Peterson house, what windows they have along their side adjoining?
I do not have an image of the Peterson house here.
Is that this
However, I
house?
did-
Or is this the other house?
I don't, that is not the Peterson house. I did visit the site, so I can maybe pull up a Google Street View if that would be. helpful.
Yeah, let's see it street view. We'll hit the side.
It might have something.
It might have it. Yeah? Yeah. No, here.
Which one?
This is the Peterson house. So they have 3 windows on that side.
There's nothing on the second story.
Huh?
Nothing on the second story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got a picture of it here.
Huh, there you go.
okay. Thank you. We won't need street view.
Okay.
Okay, commissioner comments? Who wants to start this evening?
I can start.
Okay, thank you, John.
First, let me just say that I appreciate the evolution in this short time period. I think, you know, encompassing the garage, facing and addressing the street and establishing an architectural style that I think is, or maintaining, I should say, the architectural style that is contextual with the surrounding houses, I think is very positive. So I think the evolution has been great. I think the approach to trees is reasonable. I see the effort to maintain what you can. I see the trees that are proposed to be removed are not great trees. And so I don't have concerns there. The windows on the upper floor, I do want to ask a couple questions about. You know, the windows, I guess, is that in the master bedroom that is furthest? I mean, on the right elevation, it's to the far right when I'm looking at your drawing P06. Well, how would you consider using translucent obscure glass there as opposed to clear glass? So that you get all the daylight, but there is no outlook from those windows. I mean, they're really too high to see out of conveniently anyway. And that the
Stand on my tippy toes to.
well, a 4'8", even for a short person, I could see out. But you know, obscure glass, like is often used in bathrooms, still gives you the daylight, but would eliminate any concern about actual point of view.
So I think the large windows over there tell. If I'm understanding the drawings correctly. Yeah, on the other side.
It's on the other
You are
side.
correct. So.
So it's gonna have
So there'd be
blinds.
some logic. There's some logic
Well,
for
I
it.
don't know.
And then the windows that
covering
face out over your yard that are larger would be the ones that give you the view.
The ones looking out the back.
Yeah, on your
Yeah.
rear elevation.
Correct.
If you would consider that, that might address the neighbor's concerns and not compromise the visuals on your house.
So we're talking about 4 windows only, or
Just that one there, right? The big one?
Well, no,
No,
I'm talking about the
the
small
small
one.
ones.
So
the big one's gonna have blinds?
And the big one is overlooking their roof, not their yard.
Yeah.
On Morris side.
That's more,
That's the
That's the.
opposite side.
yeah, that's what
So
it's all.
so
Okay, so the
So I
opposite,
guess I'm suggesting the high windows on both sides, the little tiny rectangular tall windows.
Just the
With the
ones
fo-
above the
So,
porch.
if I may.
the back half,
These two.
Yeah.
And this is going off your screen,
Yeah.
these two.
Yeah.
If those, I don't think they give you a lot of view, it'd be nice to have the daylight from them. Maybe that's a way to help make the neighbors feel a little more comfortable. If that's acceptable, I think this is a nice little house. Good luck.
okay, Richard?
So given all the constraints on this site, which is a very constrained site, I think the trees have to come out in order to make it a buildable project on the site. So, and that the trees aren't in good conditions. I share that with John. I don't have any issues with the trees. I think that the design of the house is nice in that it tries to minimize the bulk of the house by the different the way it treats the front of the house and the way there's articulation as the house goes back. So I think it's nice. I like the style of the house. I think that will fit in with the neighborhood. Personally, I think the windows are small enough that are in the bedroom to not be an issue with the neighbor. I mean, they're small, they're up high. I don't think there's gonna be a sensation of looking down on them, but if the applicant's fine with making them translucent, I mean, I don't have an issue with that either. I just don't think it's really gonna be a problem. I think it's a, you know, a concern that's not gonna actually be a real concern in the end. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, Travis?
Brief comments, echoing everything prior. I think the trees look like they've been beat up. And so, trees are not a concern. Having passed the house today, the design is in it's fitting of the street. There's multiple two-story houses on the street. Condensed lots. I think you've done everything within reason that you could. Good luck.
I concur with John. I think that we wouldn't want to change the style to clear story windows. And if we make opaque glass in those 4 windows, you're still gonna get daylight, and that will help pacify the neighbors that you're not looking in their backyard and disturbing their privacy. As far as the trees go, it's very reasonable what's coming out, okay? As far as the landscape plan, that's fine. Sorry that the 1 story didn't work out, but I think it's a very attractive house and I support it. So do we have a resolution?
Well, can
I'll
can
make a
we?
quick comment, architect.
Sure.
Would you consider if those upper windows were 2 feet tall and not 2'4", meaning that the bottom of the glass would be like 5'1" off the floor? With that, I mean, they're going to have window coverings on them, just as part of the interior design.
I don't think it's about the size.
Yeah. And
Well,
Maura on the other side didn't have an issue. We've talked about those windows and she was okay with it, looking. So it's really kind of up to the owners if they're okay with the obscure glass. I suppose it's okay. It's just not a very attractive look, but I'm okay with it. Maybe we'll use like a seated glass, something that's more traditional versus cloudy glass, if that's okay.
Yeah, that would be okay with me.
I have no concerns over the particular texture of the obscure pattern. That can be
Okay.
whatever you like.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so
And if it's only the neighbor on your left who has the concern, and the neighbor on the right, are you overlooking their yard with the smaller house?
yeah, they're overlooking, but well,
These windows.
the big
are-
one is overlooking the roof, but that one we see the backyard.
Yeah, I would like to see all 4 of those windows that I mentioned. The obscure glass.
And we have talked to her, she actually left me, and well, she's talked to Joseph a lot, our architect, they know each other. But we reached out to her, she's very busy. She left us a message that said she had gone through everything with him and she was fine with it all. I forwarded that to Madison, but I think because it's not in letter form, and I just chose, the poor woman has talked to him so much that not to bother her. Unless we really needed to ask her to do something more for us.
Okay. Okay, so going back, do we have a resolution? Can we do resolution?
So you prepared a resolution.
I did.
So the recommendation would be to find the project exempt from SEQA and adopt resolution 2025-1 with the additional condition regarding the
4
second-story
windows.
windows.
Regarding the 4 windows on the master bedroom
Yeah.
being
And any remaining
obscured
conditions
translucent
that were-
glass.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Well, we didn't have a first, but I'll take.
I was- I was-
Okay. Okay. You have enough to get the minutes Whoever you want,
Motion
the
from-
motion,
I
make the
move.
motion from John,
Travis is
second by
Thank
Travis.
you.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, thank you. Okay, ready to move on to the next agenda item. Thank you for your attendance.
Good luck with your house.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Good night.
Okay, last item, I guess we have, well, not last item, but one of the items is art volunteer. I can volunteer this Friday.
Okay.
Unless someone else is biting at the bit. Okay, so Glenn volunteered, commissioners report. So I didn't hear back on the May 5th. Is there a joint meeting on the 5th or not?
As far as I'm aware, there is going to be a joint meeting with the planning commission. I haven't been directly involved, but I've seen it on the calendar that we have internally.
Okay,
I'll just say in advance, I'll be out of town.
Thank you.
and I'm out of town, and I'm teaching, I'm out of town, but I'm teaching.
Okay, thank you.
Might wanna check with people to see if there's a quorum.
Are you, did you respond
I have,
positively? Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So, sorry, yes. I'll be there.
Okay, well, I just.
But yeah, I don't know about Armand or
Okay,
Richard, are you out?
No, I'm planning to go.
You're there?
yeah,
All right.
Thank
okay.
you.
Staff liaisons report?
There's no staff report tonight.
Okay, great. So we have adjournment. Thank you for your attendance.